An idyllic slice of rural life. Quaint and quiet all year round. Spring, summer and winter. This is Boardmills, just outside Lisburn. Very little happens here, and this patch of land has barely been touched in decades. But there are fears all that will change if a quarry is built in the middle of this. As with all of these things, there are those for and those against. Now, those who want to build a quarry here insist there is a valuable resource that will help secure Northern Ireland's place in the global market. Now, others have a very different view. They believe this quarry will not only be an eyesore on the landscape, but claim the environmental damage will far outweigh any benefits. A local family-run business is behind the plan. Conexpo has become a leading exporter with materials shipped as far away as Hong Kong. This is one of its quarries on the Belfast Road, close to Saintfield. Now it wants to develop another one on the Saintfield Road near Lisburn, in the heart of the County Down countryside.
As a child, I always had a dream about owning my own horses and living in the country, and that's when we were looking at property. As soon as I saw here, I just thought, that's it, you know, that's just where my heart would be. And
so waking up here in the morning is just the perfect view for you?
It is, it's absolutely paradise.
Come on, come on.
Heather Armstrong did live in Belfast, but moved here just over 20 years ago. Her home on the Creevy Road would back onto the quarry if it was given the go-ahead.
When we heard about it, we couldn't really believe it, because these are, you know, fertile farms that had been sold, and we assumed that the tradition of farming would be continuing here because it is fertile land, and we never ever dreamt that it could be something that would be considered for a quarry.
Heather knows a lot about the environment. She is an environmental officer with Belfast City Council.
Well, it would just devastate this rural locality in terms of peace and tranquility, in terms of air pollution, in terms of pollution to the watercourses. The water coming from the quarry, although it would go through settlement lagoons, it would actually end up going into the Rivarnet River, and that's a salmon spawning river, and we're really worried about the potential for pollution there.
Next door, there's concern too. Heather Lowry moved here 4 years ago.
We've put a lot of time and effort trying to create our dream home, and naturally we don't want a quarry on our back doorstep.
And it literally would be that on your doorstep?
Yeah, literally. We're very close.
Heather fears family life could be turned upside down.
We're devastated, as I think most people would be, when you put your heart and soul, a lot of money and time and effort into something. You expect to be able to enjoy it, and we really feel that the quarry will take away from that for us.
So why here? What's so special about the land and specifically the rock? The gritstone that could be unearthed here would be used to stop vehicles skidding on roads. In a booklet outlining its plans, Conexpo says because demand is high, it needs more of this mineral. With many projects now carrying a 20 to 30 year maintenance warranty, building up reserves is crucial for the business and Northern Ireland plc. Not so, says Gary Stewart, who runs his own business too, a stud farm.
I can understand their concern, their need to grow and their ambitions to grow the company. But this time in this country, quarrying is in decline. And a number of quarries in this local area that actually produce the same gritstone that this company want are closing. And indeed, I spoke to one company who owned 2 quarries within 3 miles of this location. And they would be quite happy to enter into a long-term arrangement with Conexpo.
Here since 2004, Mr Stewart believes his own livelihood would suffer if there was a quarry here. The noise alone, he says, would be very distressing for his horses.
And this is not a community that's just going to lie back and let them roll a quarry in around them. We will certainly fight it, and we will do everything within our power to make public awareness as high as we can against it.
There is undoubtedly a lot of opposition to this quarry. Everywhere you go, Creevy is saying no. We asked Conexpo for an interview, but the company declined. But it has already pledged that everything will be done to protect the environment and ease the fears of those who live here. Ultimately, though, the decision lies with others, and because it's so controversial, this may be one the Environment Minister himself will have to sign off on. Sharon O'Neill, UTV Live Tonight.
Well, watching that, Gordon Best from the Northern Ireland Quarry Products Association, a very good evening to you. A lot of people watching that will be quite sympathetic to the residents that they've heard in the piece.
Well, watching it myself, I think, I wouldn't be surprised that the residents are concerned, certainly whenever they're probably not in possession of the full facts. But that's up to the individual company, and I don't want to make comment on any specific single planning application by an individual company. But in general terms, the planning process, the mineral planning process in Northern Ireland is a very robust one. It's a very expensive one.
OK. And I understand that, and I understand you don't want to talk about the specifics. Quarries are needed, but it's striking that balance between big business and what we viewed there.
Absolutely, and I totally agree. And as I said, I think the residents are justified in their concerns. But again, it's up to any individual company that's putting a planning application in any area of Northern Ireland to work with their neighbours. In fact, as a trade body, we encourage our members to communicate well with their neighbours. In fact, never to take their licence to operate for granted in the future, particularly with the increase in community planning. Their right to operate will be totally dictated to how they liaise with their neighbours, how they work with the regulators, and how responsible they are.
In an area like Boardmills, where there's quite clearly a number of other quarries that are operating in the area, the question being asked, I suppose, by a lot of residents, is another one needed? What would your advice be to those bodies in order to work with the residents who live in the area? How to sort of allay their concerns?
Well, we have encouraged our members and continue to encourage our members to what is called front load any planning application, and that's basically speaking to the regulatory authorities before the application goes in, communicating very well with their local neighbours. In fact, over the last number of years, we've encouraged our members to actually hold open days and bring the neighbours in, and those have been very, very successful.
OK, we must leave it. Gordon Best from the Northern Ireland Quarry Products Association. Thank you very much indeed for coming in and talking to us. Thank you.